Ramya. I'm the product owner for HOT's Tasking Manager. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with HOT, Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, or in short, HOT OSM, it's an international non-profit registered in DC. They are focused on humanitarian response through open mapping solutions. So all the work that we do is centered around OpenStreetMap. So that forms the crux of all the tools or any like mapping projects that we run. And one of the flagship tools we have at HOT is Tasking Manager. It's a tool for organized editing on OSM. Of course, this talk is not going to be a deep dive on the tool, like how it functions and all that. So it's just giving an overview here. So you could access the tool at task.hotosm.org. This tool is widely used by humanitarian organizations like Red Cross, MSF, Missing Maps, by educational institutions, and also by local OSM communities. And by companies that have their own mapping teams for generating data on OSM. The tool is free to use. Anyone with the OSM login would be able to register themselves on Tasking Manager and start contributing to OSM. The source code is available on GitHub for anyone to review and contribute. Tasking Manager has a history of about 10 years. So since 2012, we have been hosting multiple OSM remote mapping projects, and we have over 11,000 plus projects, OSM mapping projects hosted on Tasking Manager. And these are spread across 150 plus countries, to be precise, 158 countries. And this has been done by over 200 plus organizations. Just quickly summarizing those. So this data come from this website called Humanitarian Stats. Just put the link there as a source. So I think like this is at least like a month old. So by now, like it's close to 12,000 projects at 158 countries. We have about 300,000 mappers, OSM mappers who have contributed data to OSM through HOT's mapping projects. And together, they have contributed to over 100 million buildings and 2 million kilometers of highways on OSM. And the number of organizations who have registered on Tasking Manager to create mapping projects have been growing incrementally over the years. Though the concept of organization was brought very recently, we have been able to backtrack and provide this data. So the major milestone that Tasking Manager had last was the version 4 launch. That was sometime in May 2020, 3 years back. With the version 4 was a huge lift on the front end side from whatever was available on version 3. We did an extensive user experience research to understand what needs to be improved for better mapping workflows and validation workflows. We introduced the idea of teams, mapping teams, validation teams, and organizations registering themselves on Tasking Manager. But after the version 4 launch for about a year, we were introducing features around statistics to understand more about the impact we create for organizations, for users. But after the 1 year improvements, the tool entered into maintenance mode. It was mostly like bug fixes or like light feature enhancements. But recently, like starting 2022, in the early part of 2022, we have been involved with this organization called KLL, Kathmandu Living Labs. It's a civic tech organization based in Kathmandu, Nepal. They have been working with us to support the maintenance of Tasking Manager. But it's again like mostly at the bug fixes and feature enhancement level. We have not started implementing any new features yet, but they have been doing this for over a year now. And now we have formed a small internal team within HOT, a team of 3 developers, the front end, back end, the DevOps side, who work alongside with the KLL team. We don't have a complete roadmap yet, but we are committed to investing more time and effort for the development of Tasking Manager. But how do we do this? We need more support from the community to continue the development around Tasking Manager. In the form of like code development or help us through research on the user experience design. In order to identify like what streams of work that the community could support us, we ran a user input exercise at the beginning of this year. This ran for like more than like 2 to 3 months. And this was a combination of various activities. So there was an in-person workshop that was held at the State of the Map Asia. And then we also circulated a Google form through which we gathered inputs about the pain points that are in the tasking manager and what could be the potential solutions, ideas that people have to solve, to address these pain points. And what is the sort of like wish list they have around tasking manager. So it was a huge exercise and that ran for about like 1 quarter, like for about 2 to 3 months. And there were some common themes we could identify as part of this exercise. If you'd like to have a view of all the inputs that we gather, it's available on a Miro board in the bit.ly link that I provided here. So these are like some common themes that we identified from across this user input gathering exercise. These are very high level themes. Without going to the nitty-gritty, just like common things or like wish list that people want to see within tasking manager. Starting with the integration across tools. There was lots of appreciation for having OSM CHA integration, but the, people also wanted some sort of like improvements and integrating OSM CHA across different workflows. So we still have to figure out how to do that. We have Willie here, so we could use that time to figure out that. And there were also ideas about integrating MapRelay within the validation workflow. And Meta team is also helping us integrate the latest version of Rapid. There could also be an option to integrate Mapillary, which came up in the wish list from the mappers. There could be like some more ideas around this. We could catch up over this. So the other thing was enriching non-spatial information. So for now, we are hosting multiple remote mapping projects through which people add features, base map features like buildings, highways, land use areas. But tasking manager could be used for something beyond that, not just mapping features, but for adding feature attributes. And this could be using a combination of like different resources available within the ecosystem, like the street view imagery, or it could be also from the external data sets that are integrated for specific mapping projects. So not just limiting ourselves to mapping projects, but going something beyond the mapping projects and enriching the map data with local information. And that brings us also to the theme of localized remote mapping, which means we let the remote mappers. So tasking manager is centered around remote mapping projects. And then we have a field mapping tasking manager, which Rob spoke about yesterday. It's still under development. If we imagine this, like connecting the remote mappers, talk directly to the field mappers so that they add certain feature to OSM with a certain level of confidence. And this should happen like in near real time. And we could connect the web application tasking manager to mobile applications. Maybe like connect the mapping projects in tasking manager to field mapping tasking manager. Or it could also be with other mobile apps like Everydoor or Organic Maps. There were like lots of thoughts around like how remote mappers could interact directly with the local OSM community and use this information to enrich data on OSM. And this has been a burning topic for us, which is this data quality monitoring. So we bring a lot of beginner mappers to OpenStreetMap through HOTS Tasking Manager. And, the volume of data that we have been adding over the years, it's more than like 100 million buildings and million of kilometers of highways. But how do we ensure we are generating good quality data? Of course, like we have a validation step integrated in the workflow, but there should also be a way for the project managers or people who are actively involved in the project to keep a tab on the quality of data that is generated using each of this mapping projects. So we have a small proof of concept that's running within HOT to monitor quality at the feature level, for which we'll be having a birds of feather session later today. But we would also want to see if there are like other ideas that people have around real-time data quality monitoring directly within Tasking Manager. We were also able to generate some real-time reports for the real-time data quality reports for the recent Turkey earthquake activation. We want to see how we could like carry forward this practice of better data quality for the mapping projects that are hosted on Tasking Manager. Next is this multiple verification. So this idea is very interesting, like similar to what we have with MapSwipe, where multiple people provide some sort of like confidence score about the existence of a certain feature. There was this one idea which mentioned if people could give sort of like confidence score for the quality of a particular feature that's mapped using tasking manager. We need some more brainstorming around this, but this also ensures there's better data quality. How do we integrate with this within tasking manager? Should this happen through MapSwipe, or should it happen directly within the tasking manager without the use of external tool? Subject to discussion. And the other topic is around more internal communication possibilities directly within the tool. So there are options for the project managers or the mappers to communicate through mails, but it's not real time. So someone has to send, the project manager sends out a large scale message, sort of like email through the tasking manager, but there are chances that people aren't noticing. Internal chat setup. And later, this information could be used to integrate some sort of like language models using which we could improvise the communication between the mappers and also the project managers, the validators. This has been a constant feature request coming up since we started investing more time and energy into tasking manager in the recent times. We were also thinking about like there's something like we could do with the ChatGPT integration. Let's see. And the final one is AI-assisted mapping. Not just the mapping workflow, the editors, the Rapid, of course, the Rapid is going to bring in the AI integration for feature deduction. But we are also thinking about more AI integration in the different workflows. This could be the difficulty estimate for a task, so that the validators are able to better understand like what kind of features could be mapped and what kind of mappers could be involved in a specific project. It could be about that, or it could be about completeness or a gap estimate for a specific mapping project. With the AI-assisted mapping, the possibilities are endless. These are the common themes that we have identified so far from all the input gathering exercise. Now, these have not been broken down into smaller pieces. Depending on the interest that we receive from the community around the development process, or conducting user research, we'll be able to identify like granular tasks around each of these themes and see how we go forward with it. So in general, the guiding principles for any software development work that we do at Heart is we do open source development, and we collaborate with the wider community, and it's always people-centered. Finally, we are also going to be running a box session after this talk, like around 3 p.m. One of my colleagues, Emmy, will be talking about near real-time data monitoring with Tasking Manager. This involves a piece of software called Underpass, which is used for, in which we are maintaining almost a copy of the OSM data and regularly monitoring the quality of each feature. And we are also organizing monthly working group meetings, and all our code is available on GitHub. So we would like for more people to join us in these working group meetings and help us with the development of Tasking Manager.